TikTok, as we all know, is one of the biggest social media platforms with over 750 million users. But with all those users, there are bound to be some weird things going on, specifically on TikTok lives. Just from scrolling through TikTok, I've randomly seen racist live streams, disturbing live streams, exploitive live streams, and I've even seen birds live streaming. So join me today as we look into the dark side of TikTok lives. So today we got my second Halloween special. I'm rocking another spooky shirt. Shout out to Plague Boulevard. This video isn't really spooky or creepy in any way, but I'm calling it a Halloween special because I usually don't make content like this. If you're new here, typically I talk about music, more often rap. But if you guys want to see me expand my horizons a little bit and maybe cover some other subjects here and there, let me know down below in the comments. Anyways, let's get into the video. So like any live streaming platform, TikTok has a very wide variety of content. You got musicians, gamers, thirst traps, and plenty of other great content creators. I've also seen these birds live streaming a lot, and I think it's pretty cool. There's really no other point to me bringing that up. I just thought it was funny, so I wanted to show you guys. But there's also a lot of weird things going on that are both disturbing and alarming, especially when you think about the fact that 25% of TikTok's users are between the ages of 10 and 19. But before I explain how TikTok is such a weird place, it's probably important to explain how it works. My first question after I saw all these weird live streams is, what's the point? Why are these people doing this? Are they trying to mess with people? Are they trying to make money? And if they are trying to make money, how are they doing it? And I quickly became aware that yes, this is all about making money. So to live stream, you have to have at least 1,000 followers and you have to be at least 16 years old. While a user is scrolling through their For You page, live streams will occasionally pop up unless they're specifically on the live stream tab. However, I don't think this feature is utilized by too many people. Because of this though, it's easier to stumble upon random live streams, whereas on Twitch, for example, you can go into specific categories such as gaming or music. Instead of that, TikTok just randomly recommends whatever to you. TikTok also recently introduced a subscription option for their live streams, which is kind of similar to maybe a YouTube or a Twitch subscription service. Basically, viewers will subscribe to TikTok streamers to unlock special features. So TikTok Live is pretty similar to other streaming platforms, except for two things that set it apart. The first thing that I think is important to note is how easy it is to stream. On a lot of other platforms, you need a camera, a computer, some sort of application to stream with, and maybe some other streaming equipment. But most people have a phone and a lot of people have TikTok downloaded. So once you meet the requirements, which aren't too hard to reach, all you have to do is press a button and you're live. The second thing that TikTok does quite differently is gifting. Rather than donations, viewers of live streams can buy gifts and then send them to the streamer. On top of the other streaming requirements, to receive gifts, you must be 18 years old and you must also be a part of the TikTok creator program, which isn't really too hard to join. So the viewer will purchase coins and then use the coins to send a variety of gifts to the streamer. $1 US is worth about 66 TikTok coins. After sending a gift to a streamer, they receive diamonds, which they can redeem for real life money. I don't know why they felt the need to reinvent the wheel and make donating to a streamer way more complicated than it needs to be, but this is how TikTok decided to do it. All of these gifts have cool animations, which is something that I think is unique to TikTok, and these gifts range in prices anywhere from a couple of cents to $500. I'm pretty sure the lion is the most expensive gift, and it comes with this dope animation. But then you might be wondering who's doing this gifting. So for the majority of the streams that I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to assume that most of the gifts are coming from a younger, more vulnerable audience. That's such a hard word to say. A lot of what I'm going to cover, I don't think many sane adults are going to donate to. I'm assuming the majority of these kids are lying about their age. I know I pretended I was 18 when I was like 12, so I'm sure they're all doing the same thing. And apparently before December in 2019, you could send gifts as long as you were older than 13, but they've since changed that rule because they had some backlash. Also, it seems like the gifts could be a little bit geared towards kids because of how cute and animated they are, but that might be a little nitpicky, so don't take that too seriously. Anyways though, let's look into some of the more disturbing and fraudulent live streams going on over at TikTok. So what prompted me to actually make this video was these live streams that I kept seeing pop up on my feed. And I'm not the only person that's seen these. I've seen hundreds of people talking about it on Reddit, YouTube, and even just recently news articles. Now, this is actually a pretty common occurrence on TikTok where Syrian families will beg for gifts, likes, follows, and a bunch of other things. The first one that I saw was actually way more disturbing and I couldn't find it again, but it was a family with a similar setup saying, "Help me, help me, help me," over and over again. Help me, yes! Help me, yes! It really weirded me out, and I kept seeing it pop up on my For You page. But what's even weirder is that, as you've seen, it's not just adults doing it. These adults are making their kids beg for money over TikTok lives. Sometimes you can even hear people in the background telling the kids what to say. Then I was wondering, why are these people doing this anyway? Obviously it's to make money, so I guess the better question is, why are so many people doing this? Well, right now there's actually a civil war going on in Syria, leaving many people in very poor conditions. Apparently over 2 million people are displaced, living in camps like this throughout the country, and there isn't a high demand for jobs. So that's the reason that these people are doing these off-putting live streams, but that alone isn't what makes this situation so bad. When researching for this video, I actually found a report that BBC did on this, and I learned a lot more about how TikTok in particular is allowing this to happen for their benefit. So now is probably a good time to mention that TikTok takes a 70% cut of all the money made from their live streams. They say on their website that it ranges from 50 to 70, but BBC and many others have done tests to prove that this is a lie. So when these people are gifted a $500 lion, they only receive about $150. There are also middlemen who will go around these camps setting up the TikTok lives for all the families, and they also take a cut too.
Hamid also lives in the camp and is known as a TikTok middleman. He sold his livestock to buy a phone and now works with 12 different families, setting up their accounts, filming, and withdrawing their cash.
Another very interesting factor is that TikTok told BBC live streams like this weren't allowed on their platform, and they also said that they would strengthen their policies. However, this has been going on for months and they've yet to do anything about it. TikTok is actually assisting these people with their agencies that they have around the world. Some people who run these accounts can actually reach out to TikTok's live agencies and ask them for help getting accounts unblocked or helping them reach 1,000 followers. So why would TikTok do this? Well, it's pretty obvious that TikTok is making tons and tons of money from both people that are suffering and people that feel bad for the people that are suffering. Even though they said themselves that it's against their code of conduct, they still choose to make money from war-stricken families begging for help. In TikTok's very own community guidelines under the ineligible for the For You feed section, there's a section dedicated to minor safety, and what's even funnier is that they have a section dedicated to unoriginal and low quality content, which is what all of these live streams are, but of course, like I said, they let it go on because they're still making money. People have also speculated that these live streams are scams and hinted at some of them being pre-recorded, and it's very possible that some of these are pre-recorded and looped, but I don't think all of them are scams. Of course, some people could be using this footage and then pretending it's their own and asking for money, tricking people into donating to them. But one Syrian user even said, "They fought us, demolished our houses, abandoned us, and we're homeless. I'm not cheating, I need your help for the kids." So if you do want to help these people and don't want to get scammed on a TikTok live, I found a charity that BBC briefly mentioned in their report, so I'll leave the link in the description below. I do want to say that I didn't fact check it or anything, but BBC posted it, so I'm assuming it's good. But if you are interested in donating, maybe do a little fact check. But that isn't the only shady stuff going on TikTok lives. Although the Syrian family situation is what really prompted me to make this video, I wanted to tag on a few other things that I've been seeing that I think are worth mentioning. Another type of TikTok live stream I've been seeing is an exploitive and somewhat racist one. What I'm referring to is TikTok lives where people are working in foreign countries at what many people assume are sweatshops, and they are streaming it to TikTok live while asking for gifts. The streams themselves aren't inherently racist, but I've seen a lot of people being racist in the comment sections towards the people in the video. Not only that, but these videos are also just really shady as well. The caption on the one I just showed was "tap tap tap, hard work, please give gifts." And a lot of these people probably aren't making a lot of money, they're probably struggling, so they just record themselves at work and hope people send gifts. But what I think is actually even more possible is that a lot of these videos are pre-recorded and other people are exploiting this footage for their own benefit, pretending that it's them, acting like their life is so tough when really they just took it off of the internet and put it on a TikTok live stream. And if that's the case, it's definitely very exploitive and very shady. Either way, it's really weird to be scrolling through TikTok and just see a randomly low quality live stream like this. Speaking of exploitive, I've also seen live streams of people just straight up filming disabled people. Okay, so these next few clips I'm going to show are a little bit disturbing, so if you get easily bothered by things that are gross or disturbing, maybe consider skipping ahead. However, it seems like it's become a bit of a trend for people, especially parents, to film their disabled kids, friends, family members, or whoever else it may be, and exploit them for gifts on TikTok live. I even saw a tweet about it making fun of the parents that would do this, so I know I'm not the only one who sees these. But either way, like I said, it's pretty sick that people would exploit other people's disabilities for money. Most of the lives that I'm talking about can take advantage of kids in some fashion, but these next ones do it in such a painfully obvious manner, and they've been going on for a long time. If you have TikTok, I'm sure you've seen one of these live streams. Basically, in these live streams, people will pretend to count or click to a crazy high number. And then if you send a gift, they have to go down. However much they go down depends on how much the gift costs. For example, if I send a really expensive gift, they have to deduct a ton of points from how high they counted. And they pretend that they just desperately want to be done clicking, but they will literally get close to being done and wait until someone gives them a gift, so they have to go down. Like, watch this one right here where this guy's clicking super fast and like with all his whole body, he's freaking out. And then when he's right about to finish, he just stops. It's absolutely insane that people would give gifts to any of these live streams. They're so obviously just trying to scam people. Ludwig actually covered this a year ago and nothing has happened since. These are still one of the most common live streams I see on the platform.
I hope it changes because it is probably the biggest shit show I've ever seen. I would not call this all harmless. This is a pretty manipulative tactic of a bunch of kids who end up on a live stream and end up losing real fucking money.
And there's a ton of similar live streams like this on TikTok. It's so obvious that these people just want you to send money, so they're acting like you're messing up their hard work. And then of course there's also the version of these where people pretend they're working or sleeping, and depending on what kind of gift you give them, there will be different loud sounds or disruptions. Like with this guy, if you send a rose, he gets hit with a fart sound. But if you send a universe or whatever this is, you get hit with a crazy loud sound, lights, and smoke. I can't really tell how real all of these are because some of them could be looped or edited in post. But regardless, they are somewhat entertaining compared to the other types. I respect these a lot more than the others because at least they're putting themselves through something. Anyways, there's so many different types of weird TikTok lives, and I could make this video probably 5 hours if I wanted to. But I just wanted to emphasize the ones that I thought were the weirdest and the most disturbing on the app. I'm not sure what else you guys would like from me because typically, like I said, I cover music, so I'll let YouTube decide. So make sure to click on the video that's popping up on the screen right here. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.